From Bigfoot Silva returning after 8 days of quitting, to Michael Jordan retiring 3 times before officially leaving, these are the most shocking unretirements in sports history. Antonio Silva couldn't stay out of the game for too long, and since parting ways with the UFC, he hasn't had the smoothest ride. The seasoned fighter ventured into boxing, kickboxing, and even bare-knuckle boxing, all in pursuit of that elusive victory. Unfortunately, luck hasn't been on his side, and he's failed to secure wins in any of these disciplines. The 43-year-old said goodbye to combat sports, but it seems the fire within him refuses to die out. In his last fight on June 10th at Kingdom Fighting 1 in France, Silva faced off against Salim El-Oussaidi, resulting in yet another loss. That defeat was his 11th consecutive loss across 4 different combat sports disciplines, and he hasn't tasted victory since August of 2015, when he triumphed over Soa Palalei at UFC 190. It's been a rough road for him, and concerns about his physical and mental well-being have started to grow. After all, he suffered 9 knockouts or technical knockouts in those 11 defeats. But despite the setbacks, he's still getting licensed by athletic commissions to compete, and he posted on Instagram that he's ready to come out of retirement and step into the cage. While some might worry about his health, you have to admire Silva's determination and his refusal to back down, but only time will tell if he can turn things around and find redemption inside the cage. Silva isn't the only pro athlete to make a big comeback. I've got to talk about former NBA star Magic Johnson, who rocked the world when he came back from retirement. It was a shock when the legend announced he was officially retiring.
I will have to retire from the Lakers today.
And the reason for Magic's decision to call it quits is that he was diagnosed with HIV and needed to focus on battling the virus. The news sent shockwaves throughout the NBA, and it was really sad to see Johnson say goodbye to the game he loved at the peak of his career. The Lakers were lost without him, trying to navigate a future without their star player, and even though he couldn't step onto the court, Magic's love for the game never died. He was itching to be back in the midst of all the action, surrounded by the cheers of the crowd. And then, on January 30th, 1996, the Lakers received the best news ever. Johnson was coming out of retirement, and he came back with a bang! The Great Western Forum was buzzing with excitement as a packed crowd eagerly awaited Johnson's return to the court. The Lakers were facing off against the Golden State Warriors that night, and Nick Van Exel took the lead as the starting point guard, as Johnson watched from the bench waiting for his moment. When the moment finally arrived, he was met with a thunderous standing ovation as he checked into the game. With Johnson back in action, the Lakers emerged victorious with a final score of 128-118, and in his 27 minutes on the court, Magic dazzled the crowd. He scored 19 points, got 10 assists, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals. Even if he wasn't in his prime anymore, his incredible court vision and impact on the game were on full display. After his comeback, Johnson played 31 more games that season and showed the world that he still had some magic left in him. When he inevitably hung up his sneakers once and for all, it was on his own terms. But not every star can live up to their legacy the way Johnson did. Take Tom Brady, for example. Tom disappointed his fans after his return in 2022, only to retire again in 2023. That's right, this isn't Brady's first rodeo with retirement. He pulled that stunt once before in 2022 and made a U-turn 40 days later. But his decision had consequences and caused problems in his marriage with Gisele Bündchen, which ended in divorce. Under his leadership, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ended the season getting crushed by the Dallas Cowboys. So he responded by retiring for a second time, exactly 1 year after his first retirement on February 1st. This time, though, he promised it was for good. But hey, it doesn't look like retirement's all that bad for Brady. He landed a massive contract with Fox Sports, which guarantees him $375 million over 10 years. And like Brady, F1 legend Michael Schumacher couldn't bring the spark back with his comeback. After a glorious career, he made the tough decision to retire in 2006, leaving behind a legacy that seemed untouchable. With 7 world championships and rewriting the record books, Michael saw real success. But then in 2010, he announced his comeback, joining the newly formed Mercedes GP team, and his comeback was met with lots of excitement. The stage was set for his triumphant return, but unfortunately, the results didn't match the hype. In his first season back, he finished in 9th place, a far cry from his previous championship-winning campaigns. The seasons after that proved to be equally challenging for Schumacher, and after 3 seasons of mixed results, he ultimately retired for good in 2012. Unlike Schumacher, though, the legend of our next sport showed the world he still had it when he came out of retirement. I'm talking about Michael Phelps. Throughout his swimming career, he achieved unparalleled success, setting world records and winning a staggering 23 Olympic gold medals. Phelps first announced his retirement after the 2012 London Olympics, and at that point, he'd already accomplished more than any other swimmer in history, so he felt it was the right time to move on to the next chapter of his life. It didn't take long for him to feel the pull of the water once again, though, and in April of 2014, he surprised everyone by announcing his comeback. Phelps still had it, proving that his time away had little impact on his skills. And at the 2016 Rio Olympics, he added 5 more gold medals and 1 silver to his already impressive collection. It was an amazing comeback, and it cemented his status as one of the most decorated Olympians of all time. But after the Rio Olympics, he announced his retirement for the second time, saying he was ready to move on and focus on his family. He re-emerged in 2018 to raise awareness about mental health and water conservation, and even though he hasn't returned to compete in the Olympics, he embraces his role as an ambassador of the sport, using his influence to promote important causes. While Michael had a tremendous impact on Olympic swimming, nobody's had as much of an impact on the NBA as the next athlete I want to talk about, Michael Jordan. Did you know that MJ retired 3 times? True story. After leading the Chicago Bulls to 3 consecutive championships, Jordan hung up his jersey and pursued a career in baseball. It was a move that shocked everyone. How could the greatest basketball player of all time leave the game at the height of his powers to swing a bat? And just when we thought we'd seen the last of Jordan on the basketball court, he announced his return with 2 iconic words: "I'm back." In March of 1995, he ended his brief stint in baseball and donned the Bulls jersey once again. And let me tell you, he did not disappoint. In his first game back against the Indiana Pacers, he dropped 19 points and amazed fans with his scoring prowess, gravity-defying dunks, and unmatched competitiveness. Jordan's return pumped new life into the Bulls, and with him back in the lineup, they finished the regular season with a record of 47-35, securing a playoff spot. But they were eliminated in the Eastern Conference semifinals by the Orlando Magic. Despite the early playoff exit, it was clear that Jordan still had it. And the following season, the Bulls came back stronger than ever, with Jordan leading them to a record-breaking 72 regular season wins. He averaged 30.4 points per game, earning his 8th scoring title, and his performance in the finals was nothing short of legendary. He averaged a staggering 27.3 points per game, leading the Bulls to their 4th championship. He was once again crowned the Finals MVP, marking his status as the greatest player in the game. After leading the Bulls to 2 more championships in 1997 and 1998, Jordan retired for the second time in January of 1999.
Less than 2 years, you're back. Why now? Why jump back in?
His retirement was influenced by the Bulls revamping their championship-winning team, but he made another comeback in 2001 with the Washington Wizards. He only played 2 seasons with the Wizards, retiring for the 3rd and final time in 2003. So there you have it. From Michael Jordan retiring 3 times before officially leaving, to Bigfoot Silva returning after 8 days of quitting, those were the most shocking unretirements in sports history.